Hey, it's Chris here for the Golf Aggressive podcast. I'm joined by our tamed golf pro. Some say that he thinks all ducks are made of wood and that 10 years ago he introduced Tiger Woods to the delicious Waffle House menu. And his name is Richard Guzzo. Rich, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe he hadn't had Waffle House before.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
if you
that's
get
like a
Waffle
touring
House,
pros. That's a touring pros fine dining establishment right there.
well, I think it's mostly in the southern United States. I don't think people maybe back in the Northwest, upper North, Northeast have Waffle House.
They're
I'm not
missing
real
out.
sure.
They're missing out.
Well, I've heard the waitresses are really fine at the Waffle House.
Everything is fine at the Waffle House.
Pricing is good.
Everything.
So
It's delicious.
if you're really a cheap guy, that's a place to go, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, I would do it every day.
Perfect. You'd also weigh about 400 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this week we're going to talk about using systems and how using systems can simplify your game and help you reduce your score very quickly. A lot of golfers out there have problems with not knowing what they're really doing. And let me explain on that. Perhaps you know somebody or you yourself do this is when you stand up on the first tee, you're trying to hit a straight shot. You don't understand your shot pattern. You don't understand what your neutral position is and your neutral shot pattern is. It could be a baby fade, it could be a baby draw, it could be a strong draw, or even a slice. But if that's your predominant shot, you need to expect that and play that shot. And then working your way out from there, you can adjust your stance and grip and whatnot and change your shot shape. So basically what we're going to teach you is that systems can help you lower your score. So Rich, why
Yeah.
don't you tell us
And
a
you,
little
you
more?
call them systems, and I'm fine with that. I also like to refer them as core fundamentals or getting back to the basics, having a foundation. Because once you have that foundation and you have got it ingrained to where you know that this particular setup generates this particular shot, then when it comes to hitting a particular, like a draw or a fade or a punch or a high shot, you can tweak the base of the fundamental. So from there, it makes it a lot easier. So if you have the base, and it's the base that is something that you have, it's a repetitive motion that is basically ingrained. Uh,
Well, the
it
reason I
allows
call
you
it
to
a
transition through.
yeah, the reason I call it a system is because you need to have a method to uh, setting up to where you have your predominant shot pattern and then adjusting that shot pattern to suit the shot that you have to hit.
Yeah.
And by doing that, you need to have a good base foundation that you're talking about. But then you need to understand, okay, this is the situation I'm in. How do I adjust my neutral position to accommodate this shot to hit the shot that I need? So that's what I mean by systems. And that goes for sand trap, it goes for chipping. Our brand new tap in challenge is completely based on this process. And we give you a couple of different ways. I chip differently. I can control my trajectory differently than you do. We use two totally different methods, but the result's the same.
Yeah, and I think with the tap in, I think what most people are going to get from this new challenge is uh, we're so used to grabbing just one club or two and just making that club do for the situation versus assessing the situation and picking the club for that. So that's what we're going to get a lot of golfers thinking about, is more about, this is what I'm left with, this is what I have in front of me, and picking a club the best, hit that shot, versus I'm just going to walk over or grab this club and I'm going to make it work. And often than not, that doesn't tend to work well. The consistency isn't there. There's oftentimes you can make it work, but we're looking for consistency. And I think the tap-in challenge and what we have with this one, system-based fundamentals, are really going to come home with some results here.
Yeah, and let's back up a little bit. So the system is the cure, basically, to your problems. The problem that I see out there, and I've fallen into this trap, and Rich has too, is you turn on the Golf Channel and it's sensory overload. You get bombarded with different kinds of swings. I mean, Doug Toole's got a swing, Hank Haney's got a swing, Todd Graves has got a swing. I mean, all these different guys have tons of different ways to strike a golf ball. And on top of that, you've got these golf tip shows. And I'm just going to say it right now. I think Michael Breed is an awesome guy. I think he's entertaining. I think the golf tips that he gives are awesome, but I think his show is total bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, you sit there and you watch that thing. My head is confused. It's spinning. I'm like, okay, so what should I work on? I suffer from all of these problems. And then you go out to the range and you're just a mental case. So I think what we're saying here is you've got to get rid of the tip of the day crap. And Claude Harmon, Butch Harmon's dad, and yes, I will mention one of the Harmons in every podcast.
That's pretty much a norm. Yeah, it's a given. I think
it's my goal. It's like the Superman in Seinfeld. There's always a Superman in Seinfeld, and there will always be a Harmon in the podcast. But he said, if he's gonna have a golfer, he would rather play the tip of the day guy than a guy that has a system, a good foundation and sticks with it and works on his basic fundamentals. So what my challenge to you this week is to turn off the Golf Channel, stop reading your golf magazines, find the weak point in your game and work on that one thing just for 2 weeks and see what happens. Ignore any golf tips. Ignore your friends when they try to tell you Jack Nicklaus golf tips because they're clueless. If they were any good, they would be breaking 70 and be on the tour. So just ignore everybody. Find some basics and start working on them. So, Rich, would you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, it is sensory overload when you look at the tips on the Golf Channel, and it's just not just the Golf Channel. It's become mainstream to where they're hitting a weakness with golfers. I mean, we're all looking to get better. The problem is the majority don't have a plan on doing that. And so whether it be a quick fix, whether it be that guy that instead of actually hitting the driving range and practicing, he goes and buys, the latest clubs. So you've got those two kinds there. So I'm with you on this. Just, find that weakness, work on that for a couple of weeks. And by weakness, you might have to play a few rounds and track some stats to see what that weakness is. Because, I was talking with one of our members this week, and it was easy to see just by looking at stats how there is one area of weakness that wouldn't have been determined if he wasn't tracking stats. And when I say stats, like you could track, say, fairways, greens, and putts for general observation. And if he was just doing that, it would have identified putting as being a problem on one of these rounds. But when we dug deeper into it, we noticed that his fairways had declined and his proximity to the hole increased. So basically what that told us, it really wasn't his putting. He was only off by 3 or 4 from his previous round shots. So we were able to identify that it really wasn't his putting that he should be focusing on. So now we can say, okay, getting the club in the fairway and making sure that you hit it onto the green closer than that 25-foot range will better your chances at decreasing the putting stats. So from there he could spend more time on what really matters with getting better.
So what he thought offhand was wrong, but after tracking stats, you guys were able to pinpoint the real issue.
The key with this one was he was tracking proximity to the hole. That's the big one. So I usually do fairway, green, putt, but then I'm also looking at the distance on that first putt and the distance on the putt made. He just has proximity to the hole, which is great because that gives us an idea of, okay, so I'll give you an example. On the first round, he had 29 putts. Proximity to the hole was about 15 feet. The second round had 33 putts, but proximity to the hole was 25 feet.
Which is a big difference.
Big difference. So it's easy to say just by looking at 29 and 33 that, hey, that's 4 shots right there. That 78 could have been a 74 and being respectable. But
yes, he just backed it up out into the fairway, and that was the problem.
Yeah, so it really wasn't.
From the tee box.
So one, if he didn't track stats, he wouldn't know what to work on. But two, if he just had putts, he would have gone and said, oh, I need to spend more time on the putting green. Yeah. When really he should have been focusing more on maybe your mid irons, whichever club you hit most into the green, or your driver as well. So
so the point is you need to be tracking your stats if you're serious about lowering your score, because that gives us a jumping off point. That gives us a point where we can look and say, hey, okay, this is a weak point and let's move forward. And maybe you need a little extra help from Rich or myself on determining what that is. And in our coaching program, you can do that. So birdiebrigade.com, if you go there, you can sign up, and then we give you assessments and we'll actually help you pick a place where you can, start lowering your score. And everything that we do is based on systems, which is why we're kind of talking about this. But the honest truth is that the skills that you need to break 100 and then 90 and then 80 and eventually 70 are very basic. They're not complex at all. They're very, very basic. And if you look at any video of Rory's original golf instructor, and I think maybe he's still working with the same guy, this guy, that's all he talks about is basics, basics, basics. They don't get crazy with all these different fundamentals. Granted, he's got a gift with that golf swing, and that thing's like a machine gun. It's so good. But I'm going to give you some stats here, Rich, and these are from Golf Digest. And it says half of all golfers in America have broken 100, which that's good, which means 50% haven't. 5% shoot in the 70s, 20% in the 80s, and 27% in the 90s. So if you're breaking 90, you're really one of the best golfers in the world, honestly. You're in the top 25%.
That's a crazy figure right there.
Yeah, so 75% of all golfers can't break 90. So why is that? And I think it's because the television shows, they want to help you. Honestly, they want to give you something that you can use to get better, but it's a totally wrong approach. And I think one of the things is most golfers, they're fairly educated, they're highly educated, they're smart guys or women, and they don't think it should be this simple to break 90 or break 80. But in my experience, anytime I simplify it, I get better noticeably. So Rich, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it comes back to having a plan. So, and it can be a simple plan, but a consistent plan. I think what most people fail to do in, say, that breaking 90 category, even the 81, is there's no consistency. So if you have a plan, it's just like anything. It's like a project. So if I'm going to build a house, what do you have to do? You have to build this project plan out, and everything has to fall into place to get the end result. And it's the same principle. If you're trying to break 90 or break 80, you have to have a plan, and it has to be consistent. So what most people find is they just go away from being consistent at doing something. And that could be from, you've had a bad round and you say, well, this isn't working, and change it up. It's fine to change things up, but you still need a base plan. And it really comes back to best utilizing your time. So not everyone can get to the driving range or the golf course every day. So identifying what areas really need to work on, so we can best utilize your time. I think that's what really helps out with this. So,
I think with all these shows and magazines, golfers have a lot of knowledge in their brains already about all these tips. They kind of know what they should do. It's just not in the right order. It's just a big jumble in their brain.
Yeah, like we said, I mean, there's nothing wrong with what these tips achieve. It's just that they're trying to cater to everyone, and they're trying to make sure, and that's the problem, is that the actual viewer looks at it and they're like, well, I should be trying this, when in reality, they're just trying to hit everyone, and it doesn't necessarily mean it's you. So there's no reason why you can't take one of those tips and put it into your plan.
You'd have to be really disciplined, though, Rich, to throw out everything else and just focus on that one thing. But it's got to come in the right sequence, too. You have to know, for example, a golf swing. If you're off to a bad takeaway and you're trying to fix your downswing, we know, like I've been suffering from that lately. So it's, if I try to fix my downswing without first fixing my takeaway, which is the problem, I'm just going to make things worse for myself.
Yeah. And that's the other difficult thing, is that it would be nice if they had a meter on a tip saying this tip requires this amount of time in order to be ingrained. So, for example, some tips are necessarily a quick fix. You make this move or adjustment and you're good to go. There are some changes that require time, and most people don't like to do that. So in your case, the takeaway position and then the downswing initiation of that downswing, if we were to, in reality, like plan out how long it would take to become automatic, we're looking at about 1 to 2 weeks. And that means hitting golf, at least a bucket of balls every other day for 2 weeks, and doing it on every shot in your pre-shot routine.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to give some props out to some guys in our coaching program.
There's quite a few, isn't there?
Yeah, this week we've got a lot. I guess club championships are coming down this week, and we've had some really good success stories. Jamie Scobie says here in the coaching Facebook group, so I won my home clubs open today with a net 64. I played the best round of my life, and I owe it to the PSR formula. I have practiced and refined this extensively, and it certainly works. Thanks. So the PSR is the pre-shot routine. And what that does for you, it gives you total focus. So you have confidence when you're standing over the ball. If you've stood over the ball and you're like, what the hell am I doing here? I don't feel good about this shot. You need to back away, get a clear picture in your mind, and start over until you do feel confident. And imagine if you go to the driving range and you hit ball after ball, on some balls you feel confident and on some you don't. And what are the results? I mean, obviously you're going to hit it better when you're more confident. So that's Jamie Scobie. He won his clubs open today, which was August 2nd.
That pre-shot routine, it's key. I mean, if we were to look at, when you're on the golf course, when you hit a bad shot, what the cause of it was, I think most of us can identify that. I was overthinking things. I wasn't ready, didn't feel comfortable. And that all comes down to the pre-shot routine is like a box. So once you step into that box, whatever you're working on, or you're indecisive or anything, that's out the window. Once you step in that box, you're committing to the shot. And I think what happens club championships, it's a weird one, because to a lot of people, that's a big event. and a lot of nerves will kick in. You're trying hard not to, or you're trying hard to do well. You don't want to get embarrassed, and then you focus on score. You're thinking so much of your score when in most cases, when you just go play out with your weekend group, you're having fun with your guys or your girls. You're enjoying it. You don't think so much of your score, but you end up playing well. So when it comes to club championships or big tournaments or big events, whatever level you're at, all these things creep in. So what the pre-shot routine does is once you step into that box, and that means a box can be, you can set the perimeter, but as soon as I've set behind the ball and I'm about to walk in to hit my shot, that's my box. That initiates the routine. If I'm working on a particular takeaway, or if I'm working on a movement in my body or swing, that's outside of the box. Once I've stepped into the box, I'm committed to the shot, and I'm going to give it 100%.
Yeah, and this goes back to systems. Every challenge that we have has a system for this. So the pre-shot routine is kind of gathering the information that you need to decide how to adjust your neutral position. For example, you need to hit a draw, but you always hit a fade. So that's part of the pre-shot routine. You discern that information and you make that decision. You know exactly how to adjust that swing based on your neutral position. Same for a sand shot, same for chipping, same for pitching. So we've built all this into the pre-shot routine. And what it does is it just it forces you to make better decisions. It's really a very simple system. And again, the PSR, the pre-shot routine, is included in the membership area. So next up, we've got Paul Rock. And he says here, the tips for adding quick yards to my drive really worked today. I was booming the stick. And I think we did that in the last podcast or an article. We talked about your drill there. Why don't you cover that real fast, Rich?
Yeah, there were. It's working on launch angle, angle of attack. So the 3 drills were changing.
Just from changing your setup, though, right?
Yeah. So, well, it actually goes into the pre-shot routine as well, because you're typically picking a point of target at eye sight, and what we want to do is get that launch angle, because the statistics show on launch monitors that the angle of attack, when it increases, gains more yards. So without really doing anything with your swing, we're just going to change visually what we're looking at. So typically when we pick a target out, we look eyesight, pick the target and aim at it. We suggest to change your target to above. So if I'm looking at the hole, I'm going to pick the flag. I will pick like a tree behind and pick the top of the tree. So I'll change basically my shoulder angles a little bit without even noticing it. So I'm changing my eyesight.
So this is driver specific.
Can be for anything really, but we suggested it to try with the driver. The second part was grab an empty sleeve of balls. This is your ball. You're hitting from here. You place a sleeve about 3 to 4 inches in front of the ball, and it's promoting the upswing. And it's okay to hit the sleeve, but that's why you'll make it an empty sleeve. But it's promoting the upswing on the driver. The third one is taking a wider takeaway, making sure that you have a full extension back, because what we tend to do is pick it up, get too steep. The angle of attack coming down is on a descending blow, and you're just losing distance. So if you can create that wider arc on the takeaway, you have a better chance of getting the upswing with the better launch monitor. So that's what, he tried those 3 tips, and that's what that review is from.
Paul's been working with us a while, and he's gotten much better. And more than that, he's been sticking to the workout programs, and he's lost a shit ton of weight.
Yeah.
So really proud of Paul there. So Justin Tucker, he's one of our he's kind of a silent member in the coaching group. This guy, he just goes to work. He doesn't get on Facebook and ask a lot of questions. He follows the programs. I think his last one was no more 3 putts, and that seems to have been the big breakthrough for this guy. So he put in here August 2nd. He's playing in a club championship. I think that's match play, which I think would be a lot more fun.
Be cool. I don't know how it worked. Maybe it was a stroke play. Let's narrow it down. It really, I
I
guess it
think that's
depends.
what it was. I think
Yeah.
that you had to qualify.
Yeah.
They had 8 positions, or maybe what they did was they just had the handicaps, and they had the whole club go out and play, and then they broke it into different groups, based on their skill levels. So anyway, he made it into the top 8 in his club, and he says here, upset complete, took down the number 1 seed, 5-4, no 3 putts, kept the pressure on him. And this was from August 2nd. I think they played their second round last weekend.
Yeah.
And he beat the guy again. I don't have that post up, but he beat the next guy 5-4 or something like that. So
yeah, he's on a roll. I mean, when you're eliminating the 3 putt, especially in match play, you're putting the pressure on.
Yeah, and I mean,
really good.
5-4, the 8 seed beating the number 1 seed, that's a drubbing.
Yeah, that is.
You would think at least the guys, it's going to be even at that point, but it's like over. What hole is that on?
It's like 13 or 14, yeah.
Yeah, he's going into the clubhouse. Oh, the number 1 seed's already done. Oh, did he win? Nope. He got shut out. So that's pretty dominating play right there. And I think he's got another week, so we'll see how that turns out. And then Bill McGrath, he doesn't really participate in the challenges per se, kind of on his own.
Well, let's just back it up a little bit. That's the great thing about our membership is that we go through periods where we'll do group challenges, get some participation, and it's very active in social media with that. But at the same time, we have a ton of golfers that come in and they can pick and choose what they want to do. And that's the thing.
And you just finished the new Start Here area where they can easily dissect their game and get rolling.
Yeah. So, when we launch a new challenge, we would like to put a big group together. And that will be active on social media as well with Facebook.
And they win stuff too.
That's
okay. So we haven't done this. We haven't officially announced this yet. Why don't you go ahead and announce the winner to the No More 3 Putts Challenge? We had 2 groups. Our hardcore members have been with us a while. They started it and they finished like 2 weeks ahead of the brand new guys that came in. And we are giving away a Scotty Cameron putter up to $350.
So like during the challenges, we have assessments and we'll run leaderboards. And what we wanted to do is to award an additional prize. And that didn't necessarily, and it ended up being where the leader actually won the contest, and that's Micah. So we haven't published it yet, but essentially you've completed the full challenge. You're an active member, and
I noticed you didn't say his whole name.
I don't want to mess it up.
Put it out there. Let's hear it. I want to hear the pronunciation.
No, it's not going to happen.
No offense.
Kaatanen? Is it Kuttanen? Kaatanen?
Okay, so an F1 racer was named Mika Hakkinen, and I think
that's probably closer. So I feel so bad Mika. Now. Yeah. We'll sweeten the deal when we send him a Scotty Cameron, but yeah. So there is a leaderboard, and that's based on the assessment. So we'll run an assessment at the start of the challenge that will really analyze where we're at. Every 2 weeks, we'll run another assessment so we can run leaderboards and see the improvement that comes from the challenge. In this case, Micah came out on top. Mika. So he came out on top, and I think it was like a 12 shots shaved within 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
But it's not totally about the amount of strokes, because here's the thing.
Right.
This is about effort. It's about participation. It's about going out and getting things done. So some of you guys out there may be skeptical. Oh, well, then I can just come in and fudge my numbers on the leaderboard. No, you can't. you have to participate, and that means daily. That means giving us updates on Facebook, letting us know your ups, your downs, if you need help. Turn in your assessments on time. That's the only way you're going to get qualified to this, because Rich and I will go through and pick the top 3 guys, and then it's put up to a vote.
Yeah, that was it. So, we have the leaderboard at the end of the challenge. We see who's progressed the best, but that for the ultimate prize of that challenge in that group, we put it to vote. We picked 3 finalists. A couple of the rules were just basically active in the membership, completed the challenge, active on social media. But
or email. I mean, they could just be emailing us.
Yeah.
If you're not a Facebook guy, you hate Facebook, that's cool. Just email us.
Yeah.
So
we put it out to vote, and then that's how we basically left it to our members to decide. So that comes in with the group challenges, but with the revised Start Here page that I created for the membership area, golfers can come in now, and they may not know what area they need to work on. So they can come in and take an assessment. Actually, there's 4 assessments right now, and that will increase as we add more challenges. But a single range session with doing each of these assessments will allow you to identify your weaknesses. And then from there, you can go in and pick a challenge to work on.
Yeah.
Now, so we have a lot of golfers that come in and may not be part of a big group challenge that we have, but they're just steadily going along. They've identified what they need to work on. They're doing the challenge, and they're improving. I mean, so
honestly, if you log into that members area, that includes everything that we've ever made for the most part. I mean,
yeah, not just the challenges, the workouts. I was at 3 of the 4. Modules, yeah, 3 of the 4. 3 of the 4 challenges have workouts integrated into them. Then we have separate workouts on top of that. So really, it's a matter of finding what works for you, because
it can just get overwhelming when you log into there. So that's why we created the Start Here. It's very simple. And another component, Rich, we should probably add in there that you don't need an assessment for. You either know this or not, is your physical condition. So before you even start a challenge, maybe you could start shed pounds to shave strokes and then work into core to score. It really depends on your physical condition. Those are going to help your golf game. There's no golf drills or tips in them, but they are golf specific workouts.
Yeah, we've got the Flat Belly Golfer Challenge, which we've not set live yet, but it has already gone through beta. So that'll be integrated in the next few months or so. But that will be the
off season.
Well, it's off season, but it could also be for that golfer that's just not in shape.
Yeah, I mean, it's based on shed pounds. It's kind of like a step above shed pounds. So if you were to do shed pounds and then flat belly, that would be a good progress, and then into core to score, which is the most difficult program.
Yeah, I need to add that. It's I focused mainly on the golf aspect of it, but I think we'll add in a physical. I think we've already got a physical test that you can take fitness wise, so I'll add that in.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you're 20 pounds or more overweight, to start with one of the fitness programs inside of the members area. So, in the past, if you bought these programs one-off, it's a much better deal now because you get everything. Yeah. Kind of like the WWE network. I mean, I'm a professional wrestling nut. Always have been. I used to wrestle in the bag room. Remember that, Rich?
I never did, but I was always the one that got thrown on someone's shoulders or something. So yeah.
You remember I went up against the grappler Lance Gibbons in the bag room, and he was doing all this.
Never stood a chance.
Horace Gracie jiu-jitsu, and I put him into Ric Flair's figure 4 leg lock, and he had never seen it before. He was like, "What the heck is that thing?" I was like, "Professional wrestling, man. Saturday morning TV. Go show that to Mr. Gracie."
I thought it was like a Monday or a Wednesday. you guys always used to get together and watch that?
It was Mondays and Thursdays. We
Yeah.
actually went to one and we got front row tickets somehow. I don't know. But Hulk Hogan was standing right in front of me. He was wearing these white sunglasses. They look like ladies' sunglasses. I was like, nice sunglasses, Hulk. And he just looked at me and grinned. Big dude, though. He's a pretty big dude. But I don't think he's 6'5", because I'm 6'3", and I was looking at him eye to eye. Obviously, he had a lot more muscle than I did. But anyway, so back to our props. Bill McGrath. Although I'm not active in any challenge right now, I wanted to post that I shot my best 9-hole score ever today with a 36. The tip that seems to have pulled my game together was to envision my target in the sky above my actual target landing area on my drives. My drives have been straight and long using this tip. The continuous workouts have also been huge help. So if you go to golfaggressive.com and just look through the articles there, you'll be able to find that tip and full instructions on that.
I think that's probably being one of our most popular ones.
It's so simple. I've always struggled with the driver, and I went out and did it, and it's unbelievable.
Looking at that hat, have you switched to a new TaylorMade driver, or are you stuck in with the old school?
Actually, I got this hat for free, so I wear free stuff. So Cowboys golf club shirt, played in the Digital Realty Trust Cuban cigar tournament. I think it was like they were real Cuban guys rolling Dominican cigars.
Well, yeah. So
right?
I mean that.
So it wasn't like the Seinfeld episode where it was Dominicans. I don't remember what happened on that episode, but
no, that's when he actually bought real Cuban guys over. When Seinfeld just wanted Cuban cigars. Yeah, so I guess you could say they were rolling. They were Cuban cigars because they were rolled by Cubans. So
yeah, so this hat we got playing Aviara in San Diego last week, and it was something to do with TaylorMade's anniversary or something. So the first 25 golfers got a free hat and a bowl of soup.
Yeah,
got a bowl of soup too.
Well, you don't need a soup with that hat. That's a nice hat.
So I have a bowl of soup hat photo. I'm going to post up of Rich onto the Facebook page.
I still regret that I didn't buy that hat. It was pretty sweet.
I remember exactly where it was if you want to go get it.
CVS was
probably still there. in South Beach, CVS South Beach. So Justin Tucker again shot a 1 under 35 in my league last night. First time under par in any league I've played in. No more 3 putts has made me a better player, no doubt about it. So his big breakthrough obviously has been putting. The guy obviously can find the fairway and the green. So putting has kind of put it all together, and he got a new monster at his golf course. So, we're going to wrap it up here, but basically golf is a very complex game, but learning to be a good golfer is not complex. If you're confused, if you're frustrated, then it's time to simplify things. It's time to get back to the basics, because the grip is where it all begins. So if your grip sucks, your game's going to suck. So, it's really that simple. Get it back to the basics: grip, stance, alignment, a neutral position that you can adjust to create the shots that you need. And that's really it. Rich, you have anything else to add?
Yeah, if they can put in a simplified game plan, that's the key. Have a projection. So whether you take a tip from Michael Breed or from us or anything, it needs to be integrated into a system or a plan to make sure that you give it full attention. If you have a plan of attack, I think you can achieve your ultimate goal. So whether it be Justin Tucker with getting better with putting, with Paul Rock, with his driver getting more distance, there's a plan there. So they just don't go out and just, I'm going to give it one quick session. If it doesn't work out, I'm just not going to try it. Integrate it into a plan. I think you'll see better results.
Yeah, and I just want to say for the record here, I'm very jealous of Greg Reynolds. This guy, I'm just jealous of him. He's a member in our membership area, and he's gotten to play golf with Arnold Palmer in a tournament. Just big deal.
And Whistling Straits a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, he was posting up pictures of that. It looks amazing. And then he was saying it was easy after he figured out where to hit his shots. So the guy's a good stick. And then, some of the other members, I want to give some props out to like Dave Bean, Larry Horry, Matthew Erickson. These guys have been working hard, and they've gotten better too. I know Dave Hansen, he's really close to breaking into the low 70s, I think. This week he's working on the pre-shot routine. So just wanted to give a shout out to all those guys. They are in the group working hard. And even Robert Taylor, he's out there working hard. Although this Robert guy, we need to take him under our wing, Rich. Mr. How to Break 90.
I don't think a wing is big enough.
Well, he's a streaky golfer. He's very, very streaky. And what I think happens is he gets a little mental. So
the great thing about Robert is he is the classic example that we're trying to tame. So for us, it's
absolutely
perfect
he
candidate.
jumps from one thing to the next, and we've been trying to rein that
Baby
in.
steps.
So maybe this verbal tongue lashing that we're giving him, he'll calm down and focus on something here. So this month's challenge to you guys is no mulligans. I racked up a huge bill. I think what was it, Dove Mountain?
Oh, yeah.
It kicked the crap out of me.
So I suggested to Chris on our trip to Arizona that we would do. Well, it was a joke, and he didn't ever pay up either. But
I never do.
$20 for a mulligan, and I swear he racked up probably $200 on his bill at just Dove Mountain. And so
Dove Mountain, I really enjoyed Troon. I love Verado. I played really well at both of those. I think I played my best at Troon North, and then I blew up on the last two holes. But Dove Mountain, man, holy cow. That's the toughest golf course I think I've ever played. I mean, there was no easy shots out there. Even if you found the fairway, it was still really difficult. So Victor Dubuisson playing out of the Cactus, I understand completely now.
Yeah. So whenever you pay up, I think we can initiate this no mulligan.
Yeah, I can't afford them anymore. Yeah. That's why I don't carry cash around you.
Hey, I've got one. Hey, I'm going to buy one of those swipe deals for my phone. So you have no excuse.
I forgot my wallet.
Yeah,
just Jag. I need to use the restroom. I'm going to go get my car. You know what Jeremy Clarkson says about Jag owners? They never pay the bill.
That's why you drive a Jag.
So anyway, guys, simplify your game. Turn off the Golf Channel. Find some basics. Get back to basics. And no mulligans this month. No mulligans. Not even a single one. Don't even adjust your lie. And let's just see if that helps you get better too. So I'm Chris, and I'm joined by Rich, our Tame Golf Pro, and we hope you enjoyed this podcast.